Hello guys, Fred here from Pro Tennis Trader. I hope you're well. In this video we're going to take a look at match selection, i.e. choosing which matches to trade, which potentially are going to be the most profitable. Now I've previously done a video on this subject and the link is in the description. However, I'm going to delve in a lot deeper here with more of an emphasis on the analysis side of things. Now before I start, I just want to throw out a disclaimer here. Now basically no matter how good a match looks to trade, and how much analysis you do to ensure that yes, this match has the potential for making profit, at the end of the day, this is tennis and this is trading. So no matter how much potential profit a match may look to have, ultimately anything can happen. So you do need to develop this attitude right from the outset. So let's get started by first of all looking at pricing. So today is the 15th of April 2021 and there are a fair few number of matches going on. Now the pricing of a match selection is going to be dependent on which strategy you are adopting. Now there are different pricing scenarios for the different strategies. Now if you are just starting out, you may decide that you just want to stick to one strategy and therefore pick a match which potentially will suit that strategy. Alternatively, if you're more experienced, you may well choose matches which have the potential to adopt lots of different strategies depending on what happens in that match. But to keep things simple for this video, I'm going to decide to choose a match which I can potentially adopt a strategy 1 hands-on approach. And so I want to look for a match with relatively close odds. So let's take a look at what matches are going on. Now in terms of ATP matches which are going on, which of course are my preferred matches to trade, there is just the Monte Carlo Open going on. And the one that really jumps out at me here is Fognini versus Krajinovic. Now there are very equal odds here, so essentially, unless the first set winner completely dominates, we will be able to adopt a strategy 1 approach, no matter who wins the first set. A quick word on liquidity. There is only £11,000 matched on this match at the moment, but we are quite some time away from the start time. The time now is midday Southeast Asian time where I am, so essentially it is around about, it's 6 AM UK time. And so you can see that this match is scheduled to start at 2 PM UK time, so it's some 8 hours away. The liquidity will get up to a more than suitable level in time for the start and will increase as the match progresses. Now basically with most ATP matches you're never really going to have a problem with liquidity. So now that we've selected a potential match to trade, let's pop over to flashscores.com and check out the match preview. Now not all matches will have a preview, but it is often helpful when they do, as you can get a quick snapshot of what's been going on with the players, and very often you'll be able to pick out some valuable information. For example, in this preview we are told that Fognini is the better player on clay, so that has potentially saved us a lot of time researching this fact. So previews are always useful if they are available, but just to make you aware, they are not always available with all of the matches. Now the next thing we want to look at is the head-to-heads. So we just click on the head-to-head tab and then you'll see their previous results, and if you scroll down you'll see that Krajinovic has won 2 out of the 3 previous meetings between these two players. Now those first 2 matches were back in 2012 and 2014, and so I will give it a lot less weight than those results that are in more recent times. So I'm really interested in meetings they've had within the past year or two. Next thing we're going to look at is the players' recent matches. Now Flash Scores by default displays the previous 5 matches for each player, but you can click on the drop down Show More Matches and you can see as many previous matches as you like. However, I'm really only interested in the previous 5 matches, which is often a good indicator of the player's current form. Now obviously you need to be aware when looking at the results and scores who the opponent is and how much higher ranked or lower ranked they are. For example, a player may have 5 straight wins in straight sets, but then when you look at the opponents, they may all be very low ranked players. So you must keep this in mind. So you can see here that both players have had similar recent form. Fognini with 2 wins, 3 losses, and Krajinovic with 3 wins and 2 losses. Then what we want to do is take a look at how these recent matches were won or lost, as essentially we want to look out for any alarm bells such as double faults, poor service records, or being unable to close out break points. This is because if I'm backing a player in the second set, I want to be confident that he is on form with his serving and there is no glaringly obvious flaw to his game. So, if we take a look at Fognini versus Thompson, we can see in the first set, Fognini just dropped one service game and broke Thompson 3 times, which is a very confident first set win. And then in the second set, we can see more confident serving from Fognini with all of his serves held and 1 break on Thompson's serve. We can then take a look over the player's stats, which will give us an overview of how well Fognini was serving in this match and any obvious alarm bells that may cause concern. So Fognini had no aces and 3 double faults, which is not great serving, but it's certainly nothing to be concerned about. First serve percentage is good at 70%. He won 71% of his first service points, which is a key stat that we'd like to see if we're going to back him with confidence in the second set against Krajinovic. And he saved 67% of break points, which is a good performance. But basically, for the purposes of what we're looking for, we want to see that the player can serve and hold well with little chance of being broken. Breakpoints converted is another stat that I like to look at, as it shows confidence in the player if he can actually close out a breakpoint, as this is a real psychological block for some players, even the top ones. So you can see here, Fognini had 8 breakpoints and he converted 4 of those, which is 50%, which is not bad at all. So I like to do the same with both players to get an overview of their current performance. And with both players, I do like to follow the process with their last 3 to 5 matches. Believe me when I say, once you have gone through this process a number of times, it will become second nature and really only takes a glance over to get a snapshot of what is going on. It shouldn't be taking up too much of your time. Now the same is true with Forex. When I first started trading Forex, I'd spend far too long going through the currency pairs looking for any trade signals. But then, a few months down the line, all it would take was a glance over the charts and I'd be able to spot a signal if it was there. The same is true with tennis trading. Okay, so that's my analysis with flashscores.com. Next thing I like to do is head over to atptour.com, which is a brilliant resource for stats on the ATP players. This is a really easy website to use, so all you have to do is search for the player. So I'll put in Fognini. Once Fognini's come up, I just need to scroll down and then click on player stats. And as you'll see, you're provided with 2 columns, single service stats and single return stats. And I'll do the same with Krajinovic. So again, I just search his name, scroll down and click on the player stats. Now what I like to do is a side-by-side comparison. So I've literally just extracted this data so I can view it side by side. Now some of this information is very useful, some of it is completely irrelevant. So let's go through it. So essentially what we want to be looking at is the percentages, not the numbers. Now you'll see that Fognini has 2,104 aces compared to Krajinovic, who has just 748. Well, this is meaningless as Fognini is older than Krajinovic and has played more matches. So disregard this figure, as well as double faults and breakpoints faced. However, the other data is useful to us. So let's take a look at this data. So first of all, we have first serve percentage. Now you can see that both players are very evenly matched here with 59% and 64%. And then again, very evenly matched on first service points won, with both having 68%. Now these are key stats and are important because if we are backing a player in the second set, we need to be sure that they are strong servers. If the first service points won dropped below 55%, then I would not be confident in backing them. Then we have second service points won, which is another key stat to be aware of. Now Fognini has 48% and Krajinovic 50%. Again, very even. As I said, ignore breakpoints faced. Breakpoints saved is another important one. Again, very evenly matched here, 57% and 61%. Service games played, ignore that because that's just purely a number. And service games won, 72% versus 76%. Again, that's another important stat to be aware of during your analysis. If this number happens to drop below 60% with any player that you're looking at to back in the second set or any time during a tennis match, then I would obviously step with caution and perhaps just not even entertain it. So anything over 60% is fine. And then finally, total service points won, 60% with Fognini and 62% with Krajinovic. Again, this is a fine stat. You're looking at anything over 50% here. So these are strong serving players. So I'm happy to back either player in the second set in this match. And then finally, we can take a look at the singles return record. Now, I don't put as much weight on these stats as I do the service stats, but they can still be useful to have a glance over. And one stat in particular that I do pay attention to is break points converted. As I said earlier in the video, this can be a stumbling block for a lot of players and quite a psychological block in some cases. Now, ideally, you want to be backing a player who has a good track record of converting break points, as essentially it's all well and good your player winning their serves, but ultimately you want them to break as well. So on the whole, return stat percentages are going to be much lower than the service stats, and we can see here that Fognini has a 43% break points converted versus Krajinovic with 41% break points converted. Now these are pretty good stats. You certainly wouldn't want to be seeing this number drop below 30%. And then finally at the bottom, you've got total points won. So this is total singles return points won. And Fognini and Krajinovic have 50%. Now this is a good number for single return points won. So as you can see, these two players are very evenly matched stats wise, and hence why their pricing was so evenly matched. However, as I said at the beginning, this is tennis, so anything can happen. I do this research and analysis to give myself an edge over the markets, but at the end of the day, anything can happen, and that's what makes tennis such an enjoyable sport to trade. Now the result of this match was 2-love to Fognini, but it was a tight game, especially in the second set where Fognini took the match at 7-6. Now if we refer back to the preview, which mentioned that Fognini is the better player on clay, we can see just how valuable these previews can prove to be in some cases. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Please hit like and visit my channel and subscribe for more videos. And if you'd like to begin your journey into tennis trading, then please visit protennistrader.com, where you can sign up to my free online video course, An Introduction into Tennis Trading. I'll see you soon.